And the first book that I wrote in this series is The Bumpy Lumpy Horseshoe Crab. And I've been doing sea animal programs for years and years and years. I started with the New England Aquarium, and then I worked for years with my own business, Sea Tales, doing sea animal programs. And one of my very favorite animals is the horseshoe crab. The reason for that is it swims right up to you. You don't have to go fishing for it. It's got no way to hurt you. It's just the sweetest animal you'd ever want to find. And people are afraid of them, though. They think that they sting with their tails. And so I was at Cranes Beach, and there were 5 fifth graders. And they had a pail, and they had a stick, and they had a horseshoe crab. And they were trying to get this horseshoe crab into the pail so they could take it to the water, because they were in the intertidal zone, and it was low tide, and they wanted to help the horseshoe crab, but they were afraid of it. So I walked up to them, and I picked up the horseshoe crab, and they all gasped. And they said to me, "He's going to sting you." And I said, "No, he's not." So I spent about 3 or 4 minutes telling them a little bit about the horseshoe crab. And when I got all done, I put the horseshoe crab down right in front of them. And I started to walk down the beach. And then I heard them call, "Hey, lady!" And I looked back, not really sure they were talking about me. And they said, "Thanks for teaching us about the horseshoe crab." And they had the horseshoe crab in their hands, and they were taking it to the water to put it away. And I thought to myself, you know, the horseshoe crabs at that time were very close to being put on the endangered list. And I thought, if people didn't fear them, if they knew more about them, then maybe they would want to protect them. And so I thought, well, if I write a book that's rhythmic and rhyming and colorful and fun, I taught a lot about horseshoe crabs during this horseshoe crab adventure with a happy ending, then maybe not only the kids are going to learn, but the parents who are reading the book to them are going to learn, and maybe the grandparents who are reading the book to them are going to learn about horseshoe crabs. Because there was a time when we were all afraid of whales. And we learned about them, and eventually, now we're having excursions to go out and watch the whales. So if that can happen for whales, why couldn't it happen for horseshoe crabs too? And that's why I wrote the book. Now, there's one thing that I always hear when I'm doing sea animal programs. Usually it's a teacher who will come up to me and say, "I found a dead horseshoe crab on the beach last summer, last spring, a week ago." And I'll say to them, maybe it wasn't a dead horseshoe crab. Maybe it was a molted shell like this, because horseshoe crabs shed their shell to grow, just like snakes shed their skin to grow. And the way you can tell if you found a horseshoe crab that's molted rather than a dead horseshoe crab, you turn them upside down and you look right here at the front of their shell. And if there's a hole right here, then that means that it's a molted shell. That the horseshoe crab, what they do is they'll have a new shell that they form underneath this, and it's about 1/3 bigger than this. And when they're ready to come out, it's very soft because they have to fit through this hole. And when they want to come out, they will fill this shell full of salt water. And what it does is it makes the shell burst right here. And then they crawl out with their brand new shell on, and they swim away, and this washes up on shore. And people will say to me, "Oh no, it was definitely a dead horseshoe crab because it had gills, and it had feet and legs, and he couldn't live without taking them along with him." And what I would say is, yes, these are where the gills are and where the legs are, but they're empty. That's just the shell surrounding the gills and legs. He took them along with him, and this is just the shell that he left behind. So if you ever find one of these at the beach, then you can take it home. You can just rinse it out. Try to get, this one's pretty good. I've got a few that still has a little sand in them because they do pick up sand. But just rinse them and let them dry in the sun, and then you can put them on a shelf or whatever, because it was never a dead animal inside, so it's not going to smell. So that's my friend the horseshoe crab.